Alright everybody, welcome back to Marathon Phoenix Commentary. This is it. This is the last episode. We're going to be covering the final levels of the game. The main star of this episode, of course, is the level you're looking at right now, which is Another Dimension. This is the last real level of Phoenix. There's an epilogue level after that, and we will cover that level in this episode as well, because it's pretty short. And it's not really worth its own episode. Another Dimension is pure, and it's simple. It's a very linear level with lots of big spaces like this one, and you just gotta kill your way to the end. The opening part of this level is it's based off of a level from Doom 2 called The Focus, which is one of the earlier levels. It's just a small level with a lot of bad guys in it, and it's just kind of arranged in the same way. It wasn't like an overt reason why I chose to sort of pay homage to that level, except that I like that level, and I don't know, I guess I wanted to start this one out the same way. This is actually a relatively old level. As far as Phoenix development is concerned, this one was made early on. You'll remember in a previous video I talked about how originally this wasn't going to be the end of the game. And that's true, but of course, after a certain point, I decided to make this level be the last level, and so I kind of I think I doubled the amount of enemies that are in this level. There were supposed to be friendly humans on this level, and I took them out too. And I'm pretty sure they're also, there's no green defenders on this level. All the defenders on this level are red defenders or harder. It's a very, very nasty level. I mean, and why wouldn't it be? Why would anything else be at the end of a game like Phoenix? So honestly, as far as it goes, this is a pretty simple level to talk about. Of course, you've got the rocket launcher in the previous level if you didn't get it earlier. And you get it at the start of this level. I am assuming you're going to be approaching every fight with a huge pile of rockets, because I give you huge piles of rockets all the time. So the design philosophy behind the fights in this level, at least after I made it the last level, the design philosophy was just to make it as high intensity, sort of high velocity, just kill all the enemies before they get a chance to kill you kind of thing. At least until the end. But a lot of the fights in this level aren't really that hard. I mean, they're tough. This close range Juggernaut, this fight's kind of gnarly, but you just camp the corner and you're not in any danger. Honestly, as far as levels go, I do really like this level. I think it turned out pretty well as far as a conclusion level goes. My big thing, whenever I'm designing any kind of scenario, or whenever I'm a part of any scenario, I think, in my head, a scenario has to end in a big old battle. A big old fight. One thing that's just really, really tough. A few years ago, several years ago, Scandinavian community member by the name of something approximating Goran Svensson, my apologies if I mangled your name, he kind of led a community project which he called the Christmas Project, or Xmas. And everyone in the project submitted a map, and he had a texture set he wanted everybody to use. He made a map. The terminals were worked out afterwards. It was a whatever kind of thing. I bring this up because in the first iteration of the Christmas scenario, I didn't make any maps, but I did for the second iteration. I made the last level, which was called Brave New World, and it was a pretty straightforward level, except it had a big old battle, and the only reason I made the level was because the existing last level was too easy and not climactic enough. So I decided, I told Goran I was going to make a level. It was just going to have a big old battle, and that's pretty much what happened. I also did the terminal writing for the Christmas scenarios, all 3 of them. But I didn't really do anything else for the first one. And then for the second one, I did the terminal writing and I did the last level. And then for the 3rd iteration, Goran didn't have any part in it, so I was the one who led that project. So I made the first level. I made 2 other levels, including the last level. And the last level was just a big old battle. Because, like I said, I feel like every scenario has to end in just a big old battle. I'm very traditional when it comes to that kind of thing. So Phoenix, of course, is a big old battle. If you played my Infinity scenario, Kindred Spirits, which is a sequel to Phoenix, the last level ends in a big old battle. So you could call me predictable, but I just think it's thematically conclusive, even though all of my favorite levels do not have big old battles, like IMAX Sickwer from Marathon Infinity does not have a big old battle. But the point is, this one does, and leading up to the big old battle are other big old battles, lots of them. I'm going to stop calling them that. The one thing that I try to do on this level, you know, in the last episode I talked about Rogue Fortress and about how all the rooms in that level are kind of the same, and I try to avoid that as a general rule. I try to make my regions of each level distinct, and I think this is actually a level that accomplishes that very well. Of course, this part of the level is dark and has kind of more sewage textures, you know, greens and tans and that kind of thing. Fairly mellow and, of course, fairly dark. The earlier part of the level is very lava-oriented with the lighter browns and the reds and that kind of thing. But that part, of course, had big open lava pits and, you know, bright lights, and this part of the level, of course, has all this lattice work, so the enemies can kind of shoot you through the lattice, and it's these open rooms that are kind of wide and flat and very simple. Simple architecture on this level all the way through. The next part of the level is very dark with one giant lava pit in the middle. You'll see that part. That's the reprisal of Escape 2000, in a manner of speaking. Each of the environments is a little bit different and definitely distinct, and I think you know, extremely challenging in their own way. I think originally I was going to try to go for like a boss rush kind of thing, but I scrapped that idea because it just took too long. Not too long to make, too long to play. I'm kind of glad I didn't do that, because I said in a forums post, or maybe it was a private message. The older Phoenix gets, the less and less enamored I am with the boss fights in this game. I guess I'll just kind of talk about what the private messages were about. There was another forums user, obviously, and I was talking in one message about pain locking, and I brought this up in a previous video. Every time you strike an enemy, they flinch. The Juggernaut is the only exception to that, but whenever you strike an enemy with something that does damage to them, they flinch. And it trivializes every boss fight in the game. The solution to that, of course, is to make them not flinch, but the problem with that is that Marathon players are going to be used to enemies flinching. You know, because damage immunity is a thing in Marathon, and as a rule, if you don't do damage, they don't flinch. So I didn't want to break that rule. You know, consistency of the core concepts of Marathon gameplay is really important to me. So this is the Escape 2000 room that I was talking about earlier. This fight right here is the hardest part. With this Juggernaut right here, and then there's a bunch of defenders behind it. And I guess there are some green defenders in this part too. it's just really tough. The composition is really, really challenging. You're just in a really bad position to handle it. Good for the last level, I guess. If you try to ignore the Juggernaut, then you're going to get blasted by the machine guns. And if you try to ignore the defenders, you're going to get blasted by the defenders. So just a really risky position. In earlier versions of Phoenix, the trigger for these enemies was right on top of the save. So when you went to save after clearing the room out of all the enforcers, you would get surrounded by a bunch of defenders. And that was kind of rude on my part, so I moved a few feet down this ledge. Because I'm not anything if I'm not polite. But as far as like final levels and games go, I am actually pretty pleased with how this one turned out. It's just it's a gauntlet, and why shouldn't it be? It's a culmination of all your skills. You get to use all your weapons. You get to see, I think, every enemy. Maybe not all the bosses, but all of the regular renegade enemies. You get to see all of them. You get a variety of really hazardous environments to work with, and just really difficult fights. Some cool traps. I like this part. How some of the center columns kind of fall away to reveal all these hunters, and there's a mother of all cyborgs back there too. It's a good trap. It's a neat trap. It's a kind of tricky environment to fight these guys in. The previous room that was kind of cross-shaped with all the lattice, the enemies could shoot you through the lattice. That's very tough to deal with. And so that's just kind of... this level was always intended to be hard, even before it was supposed to be the last level. It was supposed to be a tough level. Interestingly enough, you can skip this room. There's a secret in this room that just has some crossbow ammo, but it's possible to use the secret to skip the entire room. The secret... oh yeah, I'm about to go grab it right now. This column is fake that I'm about to jump into. And you can also run across the wall near it and just skip the whole room. Because I kind of knew that room would be sort of irritating, so I figured for repeat playthroughs, some people might like to be able to skip it. I actually don't mind that room. It's got some good sniping. But yeah, I'm generally a big fan of final levels that are really built to be final levels, and they're exciting and they're climactic and they got just a good energy to them. There are some games that do last levels really well and some that do them really poorly. And I've talked about Doom a whole bunch. The last level of Doom is just like an open arena where you fight the Spider Mastermind, and that's nothing because that thing's a chump. It dies in a single BFG shot. The last level of Doom 2, you fight the Icon of Sin, which is just like a turret mounted in a wall. And that level blows. It's really bad. You just stand on a platform as it rises up and you shoot rockets at it. There's no climax to it at all. Oh man, what was the last level of BioShock like? It's pretty bad. The whole ending of BioShock was really terrible. But in my eyes, it's important that the last level should just be like part of what you remember about the game. When you're done, you take it away. Like, oh man, the ending was so intense. Marathon games have all had really good last levels. Well, the first one, Ingu Farouk, was really terrible. Ingu Farouk, really, really bad. But the second level was the second game had All Roads Lead to Seoul. That level's cool. It's the only Marathon 2 level with Juggernauts in it, and it had that giant architecture that I really, really like. That level's super cool. Marathon Infinity, of course, has IMAX Sicker, which is my favorite level of all time. Oh god, GoldenEye had the Cradle. That level's pretty cool. That has great music too. Okay, so we're coming up on the final battle. In the past, I've used this invincibility and then cheesed the first 2 waves of the final battle. For this video, I'm not going to use it. And I thought it would take me forever to actually do the recording for this final battle, and I got it on my first try without the invincibility. Not like you'd believe me, because I edited out all my deaths anyway, but it's true. So this is the final room. Of course, it's just a big flat room. That center column is going to drop away momentarily to reveal the first wave of enemies. And then behind the big red wall is a switch that activates a platform that I need to go up. But it also triggers the second wave of enemies. And then when I go up the platform that I need to go up to reach the wires that I need to break to solve the level, triggers the third wave of enemies. So 3 in total, which is not that bad. In every release of Phoenix, I've made this fight easier and easier, because in the initial release, it was way too much to handle. I think you didn't get the save that's behind me, and you didn't get the 2 yellow cans that are over along the red wall. So yeah, this is the first wave right here. 2 invisible hunters, and a gold cyborg, and then a mishmash of other enemies. So anyway, I was talking about games with good final levels. It's kind of tough, I think, for a lot of video games to have a good final level, because I feel like most video game studios, they make their games in the order that they're going to be played. So they'll make the first level first, and the second level second, and the third level third, and so on until the end. And they spend all their budget at the beginning. They front load the game, because everybody's going to play the beginning, but not everybody's going to play the end. So they spend all their money at the start of a game, and they don't have any money left, or they don't have any time left to make a good ending, so they just kind of do a shitty job. And that ends up usually being kind of detrimental. Oh, I was talking about games with good final levels. Halo, the first Halo game. The third Halo game, too. The first Halo game had, what was that level called? The Maw? And it had that really long bit at the end where you drove the Warthog through the ship. And that was super cool. Yeah, that level's great. Second wave here, all defenders. Easy peasy. Rockets tear these suckers apart. But I was talking in the episode for intervals. I was talking about Metroid a little bit, and Super Metroid, and the first Metroid game too. They end with Turian, where you actually fight the Metroids, and that part, the Metroid games are very non-linear and very all about exploration and stuff like that. But Turian is a very linear level, and you have to clear each room of all the enemies before you can proceed to the next room, which is non-standard for the Metroid games. You're usually not forced to kill enemies unless it's a boss. But when you get to Turian, you have to kill every enemy. And that part's pretty cool for kind of the same reasons that I like this level. It's just a good culmination. It's a good finale. It's very intense, and every room is very, very challenging. So this is the final fight. This is it. Unique to this fight, of course, are the white defenders. You're looking at them right now. I kind of wish I had done more with them, and I am sort of not really pleased with how I executed this. These guys don't get knocked back by your damage. So far as I know, I'm pretty sure I programmed them so that they can't be knocked back by anything. So they just flinch for just a couple of frames when they take damage, and that's it. Unfortunately, you can still completely pain lock them with the Imperials if you're being smart. But there's 2 of them. But it's not a very hard fight, and I kind of wish I had done more. Interestingly enough, in the Gray incident, the final fight culminated with you fighting one of these guys, but you fought them in a very small room, with a bunch of with pillars in the corners, so you would continuously lose track of them. And I feel like that was a lot tenser, a lot more interesting. But, that was kind of my victory dance, because I was so astonished that I cleared this whole section without dying. That's the wires broken. That's the objective done. I'm pretty much beaten the game. I'm actually just waiting for this door to open. It's deliberately got a delay of several seconds, so you can't escape the fight. When you break the wires, that door opens. There's a terminal in this room that you can read in order to exit the level too. But I just need to backtrack to grab the secret, and then I'm going to leave the level and go to the epilogue, which is called Swan Song. 139 secrets. I am just about there. So I know a lot of people were kind of upset that I got rid of the song Chronological in the special edition. I didn't get rid of it. It's right here. It's only used on this level now, in the special edition, the very last level. It's a pretty dramatic song. It builds up to a lot of cool synthesizer stuff. And it's a long song. So I took it out of the other levels, levels that I don't think it fit very well on, like the Bistro Math. It's sort of a weird fit. And now it's only on this level. It's a cool conclusion. Swan Song is it's an exposition level, even though it's the epilogue. All you have to do is reach the end. It's a lot longer than the other exposition levels, just because there's a lot of cool rooms to walk through. There's several terminals that you have to read about just plot being dumped at you. The only really noteworthy thing to talk about in this level is that it is the tallest level in all of Phoenix. It starts at a really high elevation, and each room just goes down and down and down and down and down, further and further down. But I am done with Phoenix now. You know, I gotta... Phoenix is really the only thing that continues to keep me interested in Marathon. Regrettably, I think the community for this game, it never really got any bigger as the game got older, which is really unfortunate. I've tried to reach out to other communities, other video gamers. Marathon is just not a very popular game. So it's kind of like I've lost my interest, because I feel like a lot of community members have kind of lost their interest as well. Or maybe I just got older. But I really liked making this game. I continue to think about working on it some more, and continuing to develop it just as like a pet hobby. You know, and who knows? Maybe someday in the near future, there'll be a little revival of Marathon fandom. Who knows? I really thought the Xbox Live Arcade port would help, but Marathon is just too weird. I'm working on getting the last secret. The terminal I looked at would exit me out of the game, but if you grab the uplink chip at the start of this level and bring it to the end of the level, it opens a different door way out in the middle of nowhere. It leads to the last secret. It's just got a terminal of credits. Not credits, but like thanks and appreciation. I can't stress my appreciation enough for community members that have sort of helped me and encouraged me through Phoenix's development, before Phoenix's development, afterwards. All the cool people, not the assholes, you guys suck, but the cool people. And the list of cool people in this community is surprisingly long, even though there aren't that many people. that's gonna wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching all of these videos and participating in the thread. And just, whoa, what was that? That was weird. Okay, anyway, that's gonna conclude all of Phoenix. I'm just gonna let the ending cinematic play out a little bit, and part with you there. So, yeah. Thanks.